Right, are we ready to go? Okay. Well, good evening. I'm with B Sharpe, Do Re Mi as easy as ABC, which is a board game, physical board game, to help learn how to read music while having fun together. So, I'm Stephanie Bowering, and I have this wonderful team with me today, well, all weekend. So this was very interesting to have the whole process, the whole idea validated finally. Most of you probably have had some experience with reading music, learning how to read music. And so you know how tedious, isolating, and difficult it is. It's just hard to get yourself motivated, and for parents to tell, go and practice now. It just isn't an easy thing to do. So the thing with, there's not much competition out there, and I ended up coming up with this game, which is quite innovative, and I would even had people say revolutionary. And so B Sharpe is an actual physical board game with cards, dice, and a board. It's flexible and scalable, so they have different levels, and the questions that go with it evolve. And it's multiplayer and intergenerational, so you can play with families, children will play with their parents. Now, we're targeting, so our validation, we went out. Yesterday afternoon, we went and we stayed a few hours at chapters. And so the validation we got is that parents would be willing to pay between $25 and $30 for the game. They thought it was very interesting. 75% of the parents and children said that they were interested and would be willing to buy it. We got 150 now, actually, Facebook likes on our page that we launched at midnight last night. And email signups via the website, we're actually over 10 now, so it's quite promising in a very short amount of time. So these are the different comments that we got. Zach was actually quite funny. This was a chapters, and he actually went and got his mother to give us his business card, because he definitely wanted to get the game as soon as it was out. And we just have, this is a friend of mine in the beginning who made this comment, which was very reassuring. And we just kept getting these comments while we were at chapters. Lisa Gillum, that we got to see today, that was very interesting, and she's definitely interested. And she actually gave us the validation of our target market, which is 6 to 12-year-old kids learning to play music. So they're doing private lessons. And therefore teachers, private music teachers, would be interested in having such a game to use with those children, and therefore those children will be going back home asking for the game, asking their parents such a game. So that's the validation. Sorry, it's late. So our revenue stream is quite simple. It's just a board game sales, physical board game, and we'll have gradually upgrades for the questions and different elements of the board game. And that is it. Thank you very much. So the team's gonna come up. Run along. Oh, and I completely forgot. So you have the cards in front of you to have an idea of what it looks like. And so this is the board game that and with the questions, well, I'll talk. You ask me the questions. See if you're interested in the actual design of it.
Okay, I'll lead off again. So do you think the validation that you did is sufficient to give you confidence going forward?
Yes, it is, because unfortunately we weren't able to go to Long and McQuaid. So when we were at chapters, we weren't completely in our target. So if we're getting 75% of yes, we're willing to buy it, and we were showing them the physical board game, and actually having music teachers, we had a couple of music teachers validate the game as well. So, and we also had sort of later target adult musicians. Board gamers, I was kind of hoping they would be interested, and no, it turns out they're not.
So have you looked at the larger demographic to see what that represents, if it is successful, as you say?
Well, when it comes to parents, we're talking about, like, at a Canadian level, 2 million. So, if we get a fair share of those parents, and they're already spending a lot of money on music lessons and instruments. So that's $30 is a half-hour music lesson.
Have you looked into how much it's going to cost you to produce the game and how much it will cost to acquire clients?
So glad you asked. So we went on quite the journey this weekend to try to answer that question. We looked at all sorts of suppliers, domestic, US, international. There's quite a number of options. We have worked the cost of the unit cost down to about $750. That could be a little bit ambitious. It could be anywhere between $750 and $10 per unit, depending on the size of the initial run. And we're looking at creating about 500 units at first. So we think that that's a reasonable cost, considering that the parents have stated that they're willing to pay about $25 to $30.
Have you done any research on what the board game and educational board game market is, that try to get a sense of how, like, what the potential market could be?
Well, I initially tried looking into expenditure in music, and that was quite hard to get for Canada. I know that board games are very popular at the moment, but I don't have actual figures at the top of my head. But I mean, it's, you know, when you see all the Kickstarter campaigns and how they're reaching their targets quite easily, it's a big market.